Tavoittelemanne henkilö ei ole maksanut puhelinlaskuaan. Olkaa hyvä ja yrittäkää ensi viikolla uudestaan. Personen ni försöker nå har inte betalat telefonräkningen. Försök nästa vecka på nytt. The person you're trying to reach has not paid their phone bill. Please try again next week. All right. Everyone, good to see you. My name is Reidar Vasenius. I've been invited to be the speaker and moderator today, which makes me really, really happy because it feels like a proper way to celebrate my 40 years as a gamer. Yes, I'm 72. I started actually as an exchange student in the United States in Hamburg, Pennsylvania, with lots of Pennsylvania Dutch speakers. You know, Amish people with horse and buggies around speaking German English, so Pennsylvania Dutch, not Pennsylvania Deutsch, sondern Dutch. And that was a really great experience with Commodore 64 and Apple II, yes. Whoa, okay. Are there any retro computer fans or hobbyists here? Okay. Has anyone created a compo? We've been participating in some kind of retro computing, doing competitions? No. So I feel really old. Thank you very much. I wanted this to prove this right now. I was actually, as I said, as a computer gamer, but also as a games console gamer with the really early games consoles in the mid and late 80s, enjoying games like Lode Runner, the Zork text games, other Infocom text games. Okay, good. Leisure Suit Larry, ring a bell? Yes. Leisure Suit Larry. Some of these have been ported, as we know, of course, so you can do them now, of course, on slightly more modern hardware as well. And I've been playing lots of console games and also arcade games, of course, besides computer games, and putting in quarters in the US, and then, of course, lots of markan kolikoita, silloin kun oli Suomessa vielä omaa rahaa, into these machines, and they were gobbling up my hard-earned money. But nowadays, of course, my two favorite games, very similar ones that really get me going, are Duke Nukem. Okay, some, yes. But of course, the hottest of them all, Civ 6, soon Civ 7. Okay, sort of trying to establish my coolness here, but not sure if I'm succeeding quite yet. So I'm also a computer collector. I've collected computers I have not thrown away or sold a single one. So my current count is, I just checked, 157 working computers, plus all kinds of hardware, peripherals, software, practically all of the Apple II games pirated by the host family, Bud, in Pennsylvania. So I do some gaming. But now, of course, we come to the real reason why I am here, and this will really impress you now. You will look upon me like a really guru. I was involved in the Nokia N-Gage gaming project. A third of you are shaking your heads that you don't know, and two-thirds are, oh no, now he lost all credibility. Those of you who don't know it, Google it. N-Gage, N-G-A-G-E, N-Gage. So that was really interesting because I was standing, in Frankfurt, in Paris, New York, Cannes, at the Cannes mobile events, London, etc., telling that this is the future of speaking into a phone. So here is the loudspeaker and here's the microphone. So this is the coolest way. And then you have a proper game console here on your computer, on your phone. So I've been through all kinds of phases. Being part of this, of course, right now I'm super happy because we're looking at a situation, of course, where now, fast forward to the future, to the 2000s, we have Finland as one of the great countries in the world in the industry. So the situation has obviously changed a lot. And that means, of course, that we can and should be really proud of the fact that we have this event, we have all these people here right now. So let's give ourselves an applause in real good American style. Yeah. Fuck yeah. Finland. Yeah. American. Are there any Americans here? No, I'll make a lot of fun about those guys then. Very good. Are there any Germans here that I can make fun of your accent? Oder Austrians von Österreich? Ja, sehr gut, schön. Est-ce qu'il y a quelqu'un de France ici aujourd'hui? Oh, très bien, merci. ¿Y hay algunos amigos de España aquí hoy? No. ¿Y qualcuno di Italia oggi qui? No, sì. Okay, so pretty Finland crowd. What other countries do we have here? Chile, sí. Okay, you speak also español. I was estudié español cuando vive en los Estados Unidos, con señor Nobile. Yes, I speak very funny Spanish, I know. ¿Cómo?
Español mexicano, sí, americano, como en los Estados Unidos. Sí. But and other countries we have here also? Tampere, yes. Very different universe. Let's give a lohdutustaputus to Tampere. Yes, exactly. We feel for you. Moro. Hyvä, että sinäkin pääsit. On teillä ratikkakin nykyään, niin pääsihän siellä pyörimään ympäriinsäkin. So, I work currently as a personal brainer and also as an author. I've written a few books and also as a voice in 9 languages. So I need to apologize, especially from the gentlemen, regardless if you are, originally from Finland or you moved here. It's quite possible when you're calling your girlfriend, your wife, or someone else's wife or girlfriend in the evening, and you hope to speak to her. Then suddenly you're really disappointed because there's another guy, apparently. And I've seen some of you, as soon as I opened my mouth, you were like, cringe, who the fuck is this guy? Never seen, luckily, never heard, but as soon as he opened his mouth, I get bad vibes. That's because I keep telling you really annoying and disturbing stuff like, tavoittelemani henkilö puhuu toista puhelua. Olkaa hyvä ja odottakaa sulkematta puhelinta. Personen försöker nå talar ett annat samtal. Var god dröj utan att avbryta samtalet. Your woman is with me right now. Don't call again. Or something really nasty if she's in Radio Skugga just nu or hasn't paid the phone bill or something. And of course, both from ladies and gentlemen, I need to apologize because occasionally when you're traveling and you just want to do some work or talk to your buddy or even just rest or sleep, there's this annoying guy who keeps really disturbing you with all kinds of unnecessary shit like Pasila, Tikkurila, Tampere, junassa on diskovaunu, hyvää matkaa. Or something else really cheerful and unnecessary which you didn't need to know. So that's what I'm working on, and finally in conclusion, some of the cities and towns you're working. I'm also quite a lot, I've been working in radio, etc. for decades, but mostly now in the telephone network. If you want to call your particular city or town, municipality, you might get my voice in the evening saying, jos haluat lastenlääkäriin, paina 1. Jos haluat hammaslääkäriin, paina 2. Jos haluat eläinlääkäriin, paina 3. And in such menus. I have not been active in the game industry, hint, hint, but happy to discuss that as well with someone. My other clients are the tax authority, poliisi, ulosottovirasto, tulli, rajavartiolaitos, and other pleasant authorities. So that's why I look forward to doing something a little bit more lively stuff as well. You can find me at Reidar Vasenius. I'm the only one. There was a guy in Sweden, but he's dead now. So reidarvasenius.com, at Reidar Vasenius, etc. It's all me. It's not some other guy. But at this stage, we shall now move on with the program. You're all here now. People have been flowing in here. We'll move on with the program. And regarding the program, I want to note that I was just notified that we'll move around the 2 last parts of the program. So Anton Albin will be speaking immediately at 3 p.m. So we'll take all 3 presentations one after another, and then the Fly AR Augmented Reality Studio Workshop will be right after that at 4:30. So nothing else, we'll just switch that around instead of having like a 1-hour pause in the presentation and then Anton being at the very end. So let's get into the program. I have a text here. Sometimes I try to make it as I speak it. I make it very natural, but actually this is a really nice text, Sabine, so I don't want to destroy it. Instead I'll just read it. How about that? That way we get your propaganda, your presentation to people. XAMP Game Studios will help explore the possibilities of utilizing game technology in all industries and the growing need to share expertise with other industries, such as in business, tourism, construction and care sectors. This need must be met as early as possible, and Xamk is at the forefront of training future game industry and game technology experts. And we'll now move on to the first speaker. We have a duo here, a very dynamic duo from One Trick Entertainment. And as we all know, One Trick celebrates the golden era of gaming, strongly emphasizing delivering premium experiences for PC and console platforms. We pride ourselves on our unique and innovative approach to game development. Founded in early 2022, our headquarters are located in Tampere. Esko and Oskari constitute 2/3 of the founding team. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm welcoming hand to the founder and game development person Esko Maijala and co-founder and art director Oskari Pelli. Esko and Oskari!
Thank you, Reidar. Hello, everyone. My name is Oskari, and this is...
Yes, it's working. My name is Esko Maijala.
Yes. And together tonight, we are the Summer Shirt Boys. Okay, jokes aside, let's start the speech. Go ahead, Esko.
Yeah, before I really start the presentation, I need to say that we like to do things in the way that we improvise a lot. So be ready for that. And I must say that the things we are talking about aren't absolute truths. They might actually be quite far from it. So we hope that everyone thinks those things in a subjective manner. It was our path. It might not be the right path for some of you. But our topic is learning to say no to yes men. And we will get to the point what we mean with that. So like Reidar introduced, we are One Trick Entertainment, a new indie company based in Tampere, founded by 3 founders. And I'm going actually with the river of thoughts all the time. So when we founded the company, it is the first company for all of us. We haven't done any like this yrittäjyys business things before. So this is really our first thing. And what we do, yes, we embrace the golden age of gaming. And what we mean with that is that we believe that there is still room in the world where AI and like the Web3 and these metaverses are taking over and the mobile games are taking over. We believe that there is still room for premium experiences for PC and consoles. So we are a bit old school in that way. And,
Yes.
And we love it.
Yes.
By the way, Oskari, please interrupt me if I get the motor mouth running. So
I will.
yeah. Our debut game launched a bit over 2 months ago, Lempo. Lempo is a psychological horror game based in Finnish mythology, and it has extremely hard puzzles. I challenge everyone here to beat the game without any hints from the internet. If you can do it, you get me to take my hat off. It has been cited the Dark Souls of puzzle games, so we are really happy about that. Right now, we are a team of 5. Our third founder, Valtteri, is probably now watching this live stream from home, so hey, Valtteri.
Hey.
Hey. The shaky noise. And we actually have had quite a good start. We were honored with the Finnish Rookie of the Year award at the annual Finnish Game Awards this year, so it came totally out of the blue. So, where everything started, it was summer 2020. And we were happily working in our previous jobs. That's it. No, it was a chain of phone calls. I don't remember how I was spending my day. I don't know if something had to do with it that I don't remember how I was spending my day. But I got a call from Valtteri, our CEO. And he called me like, we've known each other from high school times when we lived in Hämeenlinna. And Valtteri called me like, Esko, we haven't talked for quite a while, but would you like to do a video game with me? And I was like a bit confused. But then like, okay, I don't know anything about making a video game. Do you? Valtteri at the time was working as an IT engineer, so he had programming background. And we have had our lifelong interest in video games and tabletop RPGs, Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that. We are nerds. Nerd is a good term nowadays. But yeah, Valtteri called me, do you want to do a game? And I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah, we can do a game. Let's make a game just for the fun of it. So what we did, we downloaded Unreal Engine 4 and started to play around with it. And in like 2 weeks, we had a guy walking in the empty room that we had made, and we had even trees there. There was a gray floor and some trees, and we were like, oh my God, this looks awesome. and we didn't have any idea what the game would be about, but that didn't matter. We were like, okay, this is crazy. Actually, the character is walking. We did this, but this game looks shit. After the hype had went away, we looked at the game that okay, this is actually just a guy walking there, and there is a gray floor and trees. What is the point of the game? So we realized that we need help. We need someone who can do art, 3D stuff and stuff like that. So then I grabbed my phone and I called to Oskari.
And then my phone rang. I was in my I was in my summer cottage, having a nice holiday day, and Esko called. You wanna jump into our game project as a 3D artist? I had used 3D as a hobby for about a year before that, so I was like, sure, let's do it. Esko said that it would be something like there will be doors and chairs and tables and stuff like that. Yeah, I was, yeah, that sounds very interesting. And then I jumped in.
Yeah, and then we were a team of 3, and we started to think that okay, now we have the guy who can do the tables and chairs and doors, so everything is into place. The stars are patterning up. But how do we actually make a game? How do we make it a game? And we had a million ideas. From the million ideas, we checked out that okay, we love horror games and we love Finnish mythology. It is something that has been, there have been many times when people have tried to bring Finnish mythology to games and get them to explode, and that has never like maybe truly happened. And it didn't happen with Lempo either.
Spoilers.
Yeah. But that was the basic. So we got the idea that, okay, metsänpeitto, forest cover, it is a cool lore from the Finnish mythology. Let's use that and let's throw in some puzzles and let's still use the guy walking.
In the shitty looking forest.
Yeah, now it looks actually quite good, thanks to you. And we thought that the game is the easy part when we started rolling. Making the game was easy in a way. but the things around it weren't. And I will get to them about now. We realized that it is super hard to go alone, although it was just a hobby at the time. We didn't have any plans of doing with the game anything else, just a hobby. But we realized that, okay, if we want to even move forward with the game and get feedback to it, we need to find like-minded people. We need to find people who are interested in this and who know something about making games and how the game industry, at that point we didn't even realize there is a thing called game industry actually. But we were like, okay, we need to find someone. But how do we find someone? We don't have any connections to the game industry. And we were working our previous jobs happily, actually making some money. And what we started to do was watch YouTube, a lot of YouTube, and Google, the magic tool. From YouTube, we started to watch like these GDC videos. And from Google, we tried to find something that, okay, how does one get connections? And we went through the Reddit thing and, okay, these are great ideas, but yeah. And the core idea was just, let's have fun. Let's not do something if it's not fun. Let's just have fun and let's see where it takes us. We are in our 30s. We have had these stellar bands. We have all had these dreams of, okay, we will be rock stars and we will make music to people, and no, none of those worked. So we were in our 30s and we were like, okay, if we are going to do something, let's do it, really. Let's do it and cut the crap. Let's do the work.
Yeah.
And then came the chain of helping hands. We found from the magic tool Google that there is a thing called Ensimetri. Actually, Valtteri found that out from Google because he can do Googling. We are bad at it. And we walked to the Ensimetri like, okay, hey, we have a game and we want to start a company. We don't know nothing about starting a company. We don't know anyone in the industry. And at the Ensimetri meeting, they said that, okay, we can help you with starting the company, and okay, you should maybe Google this thing called NeoGames Finland. And we did. And from NeoGames Finland, we found that there is a thing called IGDA Finland. Yeah. And from IGDA Finland, we found out that there is a thing called Tampere Game Hub. Okay, we live in Tampere. There is actually a game hub in Tampere. So we started to spam Tampere Game Hub with millions of emails and text messages and calling all the time, trying to get a hold of someone there. Just to get the foot between the door. And we finally got an answer from there. And we were invited to our first meeting, which is there stated as a very relaxed hang-around event. But for us, it was super nervous. Then it came to the point that, okay, we are starting to do this a bit more seriously. That maybe we should have some rules, because we have a team and we have a shared passion, but we don't have any rules. This is total anarchy. It might work for some, but for us it was like, no, I'm so neurotic person that I need to have things in order. And the guys were like, okay, let's just give Esko the peace of mind that we can do this in a way. So we thought that, okay, we need to have rules. And this was also a thing that after you hear it for the 10th time, you start to believe. When people around you, suddenly when you go to the Tampere Game Hub and you have the first few people there, they are starting to throw ideas that, okay, do you have this liiketoimintasuunnitelma? Do you have, what is your like shares? How much do you want to own from the, what will happen then and then and then? And we're like, okay, many questions. But okay, there must be some point to it. Let's make some basic rules. And we realized that the rules actually change the way you think. A hobby becomes more serious. You get more concentrated to the point when you have the rules. It solidifies in a way the project you are working. So we did the business plan and those things mentioned there, that boring bureaucratic stuff, which are super important. And we went through that we need to have different roles in the team. Okay, you take care of this, you take care of this, you take care of this. And what we eventually thought that is the most important thing, at least for us, is that we have the shared values. We will build this company on values that are really important to us, and then we can actually work in this field in a way that we are being honest to ourselves. So we had a long discussions about, okay, what are actually the values that we want to bring there to the company? Not just values that we think that, okay, everyone says this is important, this is important. So how many of you here are actually planning on starting your own company? Okay, I get a few hands.
How many of you have a company? Cool.
Okay, for those who are about to start their company, I strongly encourage you to find the like-minded people and build your company on your values. And there's a short tip. We also learned, because we were new to the area, that people love to use acronyms and words that you only hear in this specific industry. And I didn't know any of those. I felt super stupid. I was like, okay, I don't know what is a GDD. And I didn't dare to ask. I felt, okay, embarrassed, so I never asked.
I have to Google it.
Yeah.
I have to Google it.
And then you Google the short GDD and you get a totally different answer, and you're like, okay, yes, maybe this has something to do with it.
You get 100 different answers.
Yes.
What is it?
Yeah. So I strongly suggest that don't feel embarrassed. Ask. So Tampere Game Hub became our Rivendell, our beacon of hope. First, we had the feeling of not being worthy because we came outside the games industry. I was working as in the social services, and Oskari was working as a
drum teacher.
Yeah, and we were like, okay, we are this keltanokka, these newbies, and
greenhorns.
Yeah, we walked like this, and okay. No, actually we walked like this, but yeah, it was. Let's change the sides. Yes, that's a good idea. I think we need to also speed up.
Let's change the sides.
Okay.
Again.
Yeah. so Tampere Game Hub changed that feeling, and I think that it is important to get to when you start the work. You already have. I think that you already have a good community that is encouraging, and that was super important to us. To the first event, we went super nervous, shaking. And people asked us to show our demo. We were super scared. But it became the most important event for us. And there we heard about Finnish Game Incubator. And the game is going good, or is it? We wanted the publisher. We decided that, okay, let's do this. We need a publisher. And we started to send emails, over 40 of them, to all the publishers we could find. This is our game, we are doing this, we want money, we need to do the game. And we had a video of Valtteri pitching the game, and we think that that was a strong advantage for us. At least some of the publishers said that, okay, this caught our attention because you had a video, you just didn't have a pitch deck because we didn't know what a pitch deck is. And we got from the 40 emails 5 answers. And 2 were interested, and everyone said eventually no. No, we don't want to publish your game. Tolerating the uncertainty, it is a great strength that we learned very early. So we started at the same time when we were going through the plan of finding a publisher. We started this Finnish Game Incubator that is run over at Tampere. And at the same time, this was now autumn 2021. We had been working with the game for a year as a hobby. And the publishing negotiations rekindled. It was because we heard from a friend who had heard from a friend that one representative of a studio called BID Games is actually coming to Tampere. And we were like, okay, we will have a meeting with him, no matter what. So another 1,000 emails and phone calls, let's meet. And he was like, okay, let's meet in a bar. And what we did, we tried to learn as much as we could in a very short time. And we were like, okay, everything we do, we need to learn in the harsh way, because we aren't in a school. So we don't really have the chance of failing in the same, maybe in the same scope. What we also learned is that be ready, when you start to talk with the publishers, be ready to repeat yourself 100 times, 1,000 times. And for example, we reworked our contract papers at the time over and over again until they were finally shaped to the final form. I must fastly say also that the publishing negotiations, when they rekindled, we went to the bar, and I was then also super nervous, and I get these shaky hands, and I was like trying to eat the French fries, and I couldn't hold them in my hand. And the representative was looking at me, okay, I have hangover, but why are you falling out all those French fries? Can we get to an agreement? And we signed the deal. After that meeting, we were like, they were like, okay, now we met in person, you didn't give up, we can sign the deal. We believe in you now, when we have seen you. And when we started working with the publisher, there is that it was mostly a positive thing for us. And what I mean with that is that when you work with people who come from different backgrounds, from different countries, it was hard for us that you don't have this Finnish way of, let's do this now, this now, this now, and this now. It was something that we had to be quite patient.
Yeah.
But I think that the most important thing now, like afterwards, that how many of you here are thinking that you want to publish your game with a publisher? Do you have no one? Okay.
So
maybe,
all of you
yeah.
want to publish the game by yourself?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I think if you have what it takes for us it wasn't an option, because we couldn't have done it without the funding from the publisher.
Yeah, we needed money.
Yeah. But what do you want from the publisher? If you're going to that path, do you need a publisher, and what do you want from the publisher? Those are super important questions. I'm apparently saying a lot of super. And you will need money to make games. What a wisdom. We learned that. But for us, it became that, okay, we don't want to make games to make money, but we want to make money to make games. We get back to our values. And also what we didn't do, we didn't keep our eye, we did in a way, but not enough, because everything was new to us. And now I would strongly suggest that everything you do, keep your eye on many steps ahead on what you are doing. That will make the road much more easier. And 1 year will go in a blink of an eye. That's the repeating theme for us. Now we are always like, okay, now we are fine.
Every morning mantra.
Yes. Then it became that people started to come around us and, hey, okay, you have the publishers, do you want investors? And we were like, more money. So we did the Family, Friends and Fools round. We got some money from there. And we contacted angel investors, venture capitalists. I was in a FIBAN event. And what I learned there, we get actually back to being honest to yourselves and true to yourself, is that all these people, there's suddenly like a flock of people gathering around you and telling you, do this, do this, do this, do this. Maybe you should do it this way. Everyone else has done it this way. And we were like, yeah, I will put on my fancy coat and go to the FIPAN event. Yes, my name is Esko Maijala. We need money and you will get awesome products. And what we realized that I'm not being honest to myself. I'm not being true to myself. I'm there representing the idea of this industry and not us. So there are thousands of opinions around you. And now I can quite honestly say that we can spot the ideas from the experience, because we have done poor decisions. But from the experience that, okay, there are a million ideas and people trying to guide you and tell you what to do. And right now I'm being one of those people to you, maybe, who are here to start the path. But being true to yourself, that is the most important thing, to me at least.
I agree.
But what we did, we hired some consultants that helped a lot to reach out, and they spared our time a lot so we could focus on the game, and they were like, okay, we reach out to those people, and blah, 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 blah. And we got the Tempo funding, and we got the Ely-keskus funding, which was super great. And by the way, this year, I think that many here have already noticed that the game industry is in quite a turmoil. So don't be alarmed. And what I have heard now that we are negotiating to our second title, the publishing deals, that we have learned as a tip to you that there seems to be a sweet spot for projects that go under 20,000 euros or projects that go over 2 million. And if you are between that spot, it sounds super stupid that my project is 1 million, why don't you want this? It's too small. But there seems to be this kind of trend going on now, or then we're just listening to the wrong people. But where this all is going, the gibberish and the river of thoughts, is that the most important lesson is learn to say no to yes men, the flock of yes people. There will be a lot of them, and learning to say no demands courage, it demands knowledge, it demands knowledge of yourself. Trust yourself and work with the people you like. That has been one of our mottos. We work with the people we like. Have fun. And there is this thing for some going on that, yeah, our company is like a family. That's bullshit. No company is like a family. It is actually quite disgusting to me, because family doesn't kick you out when you run low on money. At least most of the families hopefully doesn't do that. And don't forget that there is life outside the company. Many people will talk the talk, but only few will walk the walk. That is also something that a lot of people will come to pat your back and be like, okay, your project looks super promising, awesome, let's stay in touch. And then you don't hear from them at any point. If something doesn't feel right, it most likely isn't. Yeah, just don't be a dick. Treat others with respect. And I think that is one of the greatest strengths there can be, although it is cliche. Treat others with respect, you get treated with respect. At least quite often. We're getting learn to say no to yes men. This morning we were like, learn to say yes to no men. but yeah, okay, I have 2 minutes left, so I'm going to wrap it up. Yeah, Lempo launched. Blah, 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 blah. The launch is extremely frustrating. It could have went better. We will learn from it.
Though. People loved it, though.
Yeah. The feedback has been really awesome. But the game, like I said, the game is the easy part. We're not here to talk about Lempo. Then there's a thing called Valley of Death. After Lempo launched, we felt that we are back in square one. The Valley of Death is a thing that your one project ends and your second project should start, and in the between is the Valley of Death, where your company might die. And we are in that spot right now. We want to be transparent and honest. The cycle starts again. We have now sent 70 emails to publishers. We had another 70 meetings with publishers around Europe. And this time, about half of them have answered. The first game was for us like a business card. Now people take us seriously. Yeah, and there's something, start working on your second project early enough. We didn't. It's hard.
We are in a valley of death
Yes,
because of that.
We have 25 seconds left. We rushed the end, so we made it. So I think that we get to the end words.
Thank you.
But yeah, the most important lesson from us is that be polite, be respectful, maintain a healthy dose of skepticism. You will make mistakes, that's perfectly fine.
3,
Be true
2,
to yourself.
1.
Yes!
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kiitos.
All right. Esko and Oskari improvising. Is this typical for you guys? You do improvisation?
Well, I'm a professional musician. I'm a jazz musician, so it's...
Okay.
But of course, Esko took the bullet, so
Yeah, this.
give a hand to Esko.
You're a classical musician.
But yeah. Oscar is the core pillar.
Exactly. So, guys, what is really currently driving you guys forward from one day to another? What is most exciting that energizes you in what you do?
I think it's freedom. Freedom to choose whatever you want to do.
No boss man or...
No boss man.
Right.
I think it's the freedom. You wanna spice this up, Esko?
What about you?
Throw
Get
the
that
bottle
thing
with-
from behind your,
Yes.
between your legs first. Yes,
Freedom,
okay.
freedom for sure, and doing something that has a meaning in the world that is based on getting more and more and more. We get the feeling and sensation from making games that we can do something that matters. We get to put our mind and idea to the games and bring art, because video games are a form of art, maybe the most beautiful form of art.
Yes.
So that gives
Totally.
much of satisfaction.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the coding, sounds, mechanics,
The coding isn't.
everything. Oh, is that not art? Okay.
No, I'm kidding. We are not programmers.
Yeah. So, where are you guys going? What kind of ambitions do you have eventually? I mean, we understand where you're coming from, what you're doing now. What sort of a leading star do you have? Seiso, kerro seiso. Salainen projekti, mitä kukaan ei kuullut vielä.
I think our ambitions are in our next game, Esko, spoiling.
Yes.
The second game that we are making is going to redefine the exploration in video games, so I guess that's pretty good, ambitious project. So
Okay. And what's what kind of timeline are we looking at? 2029, 2030?
well, we are in the Valley of Death, so
Okay.
We don't
We know
know.
what that means. So what about some kind of personal ambitions you have? Something cool, great you still have in your mind that you want to create, if not next or now, eventually at some stage when you're sitting in your rocking chair thinking, Esko Seni, minä tein tämän, or you know, Oskari Kulta, nyt kun ollaan tässä kiikkustuolissa, niin hyvä, että tehtiin tämä, nyt voidaan kuolla rauhassa. What kind of a thing would you have in mind?
Building a video game company that is a safe and fun place for people to work, where they are treated as equals, although
Yes.
they won't be part of the family because there isn't just such a thing as a family as a company. And making a lasting effort in that way, offering the hundreds and thousands of people who are talented a place they can work and do their stuff. That would be like the dream come true.
You're working now together, and you might sit there in your rocking chairs together or not, but what's your personal ambition? Or some sort of a project that you want to create?
I think the second title is kind of the dream come true project.
So it'll be all downhill from there then. It's
Yeah.
like the top of your
Yeah,
career.
yeah.
Okay, good to know. So that we read about you. You heard it here first. That'll be like the top of his career.
Yeah, we will shut down the company after it. So
Okay,
no,
fair enough.
just joking.
Making a lasting company. Let's do an exit.
Exactly. Well, we clearly see here a great example of what friends are like when they work together. There is chemistry. You're not family. Your brother from a different mother, and you know that's cool too. Do you guys have questions or comments? Anything you would like to hear them reveal?
Please.
Tease something. Yes, a microphone here is needed. The gentleman in the fourth row there will see. And if you have other questions, we still have a few minutes left. So go ahead.
Hey Esko and Oskari.
Hello, Joni.
Tomi Toikka says hello. And
Hey Tomi.
yeah, just a general message. The question is mainly for you, that as you game just outside of the games industry, what do you feel about it right now? How's the community here in general in Finland?
Be blunt and honest and frank like Finland man is.
Blunt and honest, it is amazing. It is supportive. We wouldn't be here without community in Finland. We have had a lot of help. We have asked for help, and we had a lot of help without asking. So I can only give. Now I took my hat off to the Finnish game community.
100%.
Right. That deserves an applause. I was going to say, I was
Yes.
waiting for 1.5 seconds whether there was an applause, but one was sort of brewing and coming there. So on a final note, I just want to touch upon the big elephant hippopotamus thingy in the room. That's AI. You did mention that. How important is it for you now to really build upon that? I mean, ordinary muggles outside this magical realm, of course. I mean, they're now using the ChatGPT and binging and stuff like that. Suddenly, but still a lot of stuff, cool stuff, is really useful stuff is being built upon it. Will there be lots of AI inside in your cool productions? To what extent?
I know that Oskari wants to take this question. I will give it to him. Yeah. But this is like, for some, this is like pushing the self-destruction button right now. So go ahead, Oskari.
Well, as I'm a professional musician and also a primary artist in One Trick, I think when you do the hard work, when you walk the rocky road to, be better at your craft, then you know what you don't know. And I think people who have walked that rocky path don't use AI as art. And I think we won't either.
Yeah,
He said hesitantly, looking at his friend.
No, we won't use AI as an art.
Okay.
we are anti-AI in the terms of.
Fuck AI, no.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it might fuck back, one day. So
Yeah.
we're friends. We love AI. Where's the camera? We love AI. Good AI.
please
Terminators.
don't kill us.
Okay.
But yeah, we don't use AI much.
One more question, and then we'll move on. There's a question over here. That this young lady here needs a microphone.
Thank you for the young.
Well, compared to me.
Actually, I saw your second title already. As you remembered, Pocket Gamers. I actually was evaluating it as well. And which place did you make at the Pocket Gamers?
Third place.
Yes, and
Yes.
the first place was who?
First place.
Yeah.
That was for a gentleman here somewhere.
Yes, he will be soon on the stage. But I have to
Yes.
be honest, this game, it looked fantastic, so be aware. It looks fantastic, and those guys are very talented. When you're talking about the community, just a small reminder for you all. We have today, after this game track, the ICTA meetup here at the same building. And ICTA means community, so we would love if you all stay and enjoy and have a chat with the guys. Thank you.
Yeah. And thank you to Esko and Oskari, Multiple Trick Entertainment. We'll hear lots about them in the future.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
All right, not a one-trick pony, definitely not. They have a lot up their sleeves yet, and we'll see and hear a lot about these guys for sure. So let's move on in our program. Our next speaker has close to 10 years of experience in the games industry. First in artist roles, and the last 4 years in art production, creative direction, and art outsourcing. She is also the project lead for the We in Games Finland's mentorship program. She has been the art producer at Metacore's hit game Merge Mansion. A warm welcome to Salla Hiiskoski.
Hello, does this work? Silent nods. Okay, welcome to the scale-up world from the world of indie games. I'm Salla Hiiskoski. I work at Metacore Games as an art producer, as you can see from here. And that's my dog. I usually bring my dog to the talks that I have just to break the ice a little bit because I'm a little bit nervous, as many people are when they come to speak. And also, you are my first live audience. Like, I've done remote speeches, but never on the stage. And the lights are really bright. But I'll figure it out. We'll figure it out together. Okay, in this talk, I'm going to go through a little bit about where I work, what I do, and how I end up there. It's more a story of like personal career journey. I don't know what you're going to get out of it. Let's see. My background in games industry is around 10-ish years soon. I started at Rovio back in 2014 when it still had an animation studio, so technically I wasn't in games, but working with the game IP. Then I went to work in a smaller startup, doing own IP development and some service games or like work or hire stuff. In 2017, I started at Futureplay Games. I was working as a game artist up until 2019 when I pivoted into art production. And nowadays I'm working at Metacore in a game called Merge Mansion. Art producer as a role might not be like the most well-known role in games. So hopefully you're gonna find out a little bit about what it is. But first, how many of you know Metacore? Not everyone. Let's go through what is Metacore. This is our logo. So Metacore is a game company, a scale-up game company in Helsinki. We're about, nobody knows anymore, 180 people, closing to 200. We're scaling up really fast. And we currently have one game live. It was launched in 2020 called Merge Mansion. It has about 50 million players. And about 2 million daily active users, so it's not like a small game anymore. And it can be also seen, this is Merge Mansion. If you haven't played it, this is what it looks like. If you haven't seen it, this is also what it looks like here. And we've had a lot of presence in the media and also in the advertisement. One thing to mention, we did a campaign with Pedro Pascal, which which was a huge thing, and I'm still wrapping my head around it. But this is the kind of cool stuff that we're doing currently in Merge Mansion. The game team is, I'm not keeping count, about 90-ish people. So I'd say about half of the people in the company currently work in Merge Mansion. And it's a big game team, so we are, oh my God. So we are divided into smaller teams working on features, working on content for the game, and also people taking ownership of, like, you know, the business goals and other player experience, other things around making the game. I work in a team called Merge Mansion Central Art Team. So we are a group of artists. And whenever someone needs something, some art content from us, they come to us. Central Art Team is abbreviated to CAT. We are called the CAT team internally as well. And we have art producers, 2D artists, 3D artists, illustrators, and tech artists working in the Central Art Team, working on content for the game. So going into the role of an art producer, I am one. What does it mean? Well, it means different things in different companies. It really depends on the needs. In a game like Merge Mansion, because we are a big team, we're a big game, we release content every single month, and the content treadmill is really huge and really fast. My role is kind of producing art for the game, of course in collaboration with other people in the company, and coordinating different tasks, either internally or externally. When I started, I was mostly working with outsourcing vendors, but now we have a bigger art team, so I'm also coordinating the art team inside Merge Mansion. Then I'm doing a lot of facilitation with creative collaboration. Like, we have designers and we have, you know, story, we have marketing, other people in the game who are involved with creating content for the game. So I'm kind of there, sitting with them in a room and trying to get everyone's creativity on the table about what we're going to do and how we're going to make it better and how we're going to make it serve the players best. I also do some outsourcing every now and then, because making the amount of content for every single update is a huge task, and we don't have enough people internally, so it's easier to scale up to outsourcing vendors. And then I also work a little bit about our processes of making working in this game easier for the team. Does this work anymore? No, I broke it. Oh, okay. It works. No, yes, okay. It's taking multiple clicks. So most of my work time goes into creative live content for the game. So we get, like, ideas or business targets from different people in the team. We get the story from the marketing team, something like what kinds of stories or themes we want to tell, what are the market trends that we might want to tap into when we're doing the content. And then we also get, like, a design draft from the designers of, like, what we're going to do with the live content. And then I come in for the pre-production, help them brainstorm, bounce ideas, refine the story and design draft, because, like, usually, well, my colleagues know me as someone, like, you can't come to me with, like, fully drafted ideas, because I will always bounce them back multiple times. So they know that they don't have to come to me with, like, ready, set, go stuff. There will always be some creative collaboration with that. And then I help create mood boards and kind of visualize the ideas in collaboration with those people. Mostly in this point working with Miro or Pinterest, creating mood boards. I also use Midjourney for visualizing certain ideas. Even though I come from an art background, I could be working on them. But, you know, AI tools are fast, and they are great for use as like a springboard and for inspiration, rather than, you know, fully leaning into that. We touched upon AI topic here as well. I love talking about it, so maybe we can discuss later. And also, like ChatGPT, other AI tools for ideation. This has an own life now, so let's see how this goes. After this, I help scope the art tasks and make asset list for everything that we need to do to ship this thing in the update. So what needs to be done? What needs to be done custom, because our game has been live for 3 years, so we have a lot of stuff. Not everything needs to be done from like scratch for every single update. So checking what we already have and what we might need to do internally, helping mood boarding, sketching, crafting ideas with the team. And then I also work with Jira, which is the project management tool and task tracking tool that we use on just like writing down tasks, adding context, putting links, and then whatever is not going into our internal art team, I'm going to do outsourcing briefing for our external vendors. Then when we go to production, I'm managing the outsourcing pipeline. So whatever we order, I give them feedback, I give them context and guides if they need to, and just giving them all of the information that they need so that they can create the best looking, feeling, in style stuff for us. And then sometimes I run alignment meetings with the team, like just checking where we are we going in the right direction? Is the marketing team or other people around the 90-person team in the loop about what we're doing? I oversee the art quality and approve the assets and then do like final checks when they are put in the game. Like, is everything, serving a purpose? Because like we have a game on mobile, the stuff that in there is really small. It needs to be very legible. It needs to be very, like everything needs to be kind of differentiated from each other so that players can very quickly see what they have and what they need to do in the game. So that kind of check you can only do when you have everything in place at one time. So kind of having like a big picture view of the art content that we're putting in the game. A little bit of polish and tweak. Sometimes I do art myself as well because I come from an art background, but only if it's needed and only if I have time. Nowadays, I don't have as much time to make art as I would love to, but I do some concepts, which is, I think, the most fun part for me of making games. And then when everything is done, we hand it over, we communicate to the players, the team members who need it about what they need to do and check with QA about what it needs to look like and if everything is working as intended. And then, I had one more here. Working with these in this stage of development. Here's an example of an event that just went live inside Merge Mansion of the items that we did. In addition to these, we also do illustrations. We do like offers inside the game. We do like sometimes some character animations or other kind of content for each event. And then it's running in the game, and then we repeat it all over again. Because as I said, we ship an update every single month. So at one time, I might have like 3 different updates on my table. Christmas passed already. I'm working on Easter at the moment, but we don't have as much buffer as I would like to. Yeah. My work is really, really creative. It's fun. I love that there is this big picture view thingy in there that requires you to know pattern recognition. It's the right level of challenging. Like I don't like it when my work is too easy. I get bored if it's too easy. So this is a good level of challenging for me. It's really fast-paced. One of the reasons why I made a pivot from art to art production is because I got to work really fast when I'm doing art production, and when I'm doing some really quick sketches, sending them to a vendor who is doing the slow work of actually creating the asset and making it feel and look really beautiful. So I prefer fast-paced work. I'm a problem solver, and I'm really motivated by learning all the time. So if I stop learning, I lose interest. And this is how I like it in my brain. This is the best way of working for me. Why? Because of ADHD. And I have a theory about the game industry that, well, I don't think there's any study, or if there's not, I didn't look for one. I maybe should have. But I have a theory that game industry is a pretty great place for neurodivergent people. I work with a lot of ADHD people. And I've had the, when I've been studying, I've also been being in the same space with a lot of people with ADHD. And I have my theories about like why that is. Because I've always felt weird, like really weird. I didn't have friends when I was growing up. Like, what are friends? And the first time that I actually felt like I'm somewhere where I belong was when I went to study art. And then, I've always gravitated towards communities where I can feel like I can be myself, like safely be myself, and not having to be like all, normal and business and Panatus person. Yeah, and the first places where I felt at peace, I need to get some water because it's really dry air. Yeah, my internet bubble was the first place where I was feeling like really safe to be myself back in the day, and also at art school. And those were also the accidental first places where I met my first game industry contacts. So this is my origin story. So I didn't have a lot of friends at school, so I hung out in the internet back in the day. And the internet was smaller back then. Like it was, the niches were easier to find, and the niche where I was hanging out, which was like the anime places, it was DeviantArt, it was like the impro manga community. That's like 20 years ago. And then also the Irk-galleria, Piirtäjät group. Like those were really safe spaces to get better at art, to share your work, to get like just freaking excited about doing art stuff with other people. And we talk a lot about like internet being really toxic. These were not toxic places. These were cozy. These were really nice places to be in. These were really like safe places to just spend time with people who are interested in weird stuff. Also, when I was growing up, like I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I wanted to do everything, and that's also part of the ADHD thing. I'm a serial hobbyist. I'm a serial getting interested in everything-ist. And you need to decide what you really want to do with your career. I'm like, I don't know, I want to do everything. But something that was always kind of apparent in there, I want my work to be creative, and I just want to somehow be able to do something where I can be just interested in everything and anything. And art and creative stuff just happened to be like one of those things. So that was like my first reaction, just going into art and then figuring it out along the way. And I studied comics, graphic design, fine arts, illustration, animation. So I have like a really wide fundamentals of making art for different kinds of things. So my internet bubble never felt weird. Art school, equally like safe space to be in, never felt weird in there, and it was just a really nice place to spend my youth, just getting validation that I can be myself. And then when I was kind of looking at options, like, okay, what can I do with this education of mine? There's not a lot of options maybe. Then, the game industry just felt like a place where there's a lot of weird people and a lot of creative people. Like maybe it is a good place to spend my career, maybe. Answer is it is. It's a very nice place with very nice people. And we were already like in this stage like 20 minutes ago, we're all already talking about the community of game makers in Finland. Like it's really, really, really nice community to be in. But the thing is, I got really lucky with my jobs. So starting from Rovio, you remember my days in Kupoli and the internet circles. Some of my friends from there, like from when I was 14, 13 years old, happened to work there. There were traineeships available back in the day, so applying there, having the right kind of portfolio and then having the internal recommendation really helped. Got lucky. Next. Well, there were layoffs at Rovio, and I wasn't permanent, so I was there only for half a year. I was figuring out what I want to do next. I moved back to Turku, where I'm from, and was looking at some options about what I want to do next. Are there any game companies in Turku? Not a lot. Well, there's this one, and my mom knew the CEO's mom. And she was like, hey, maybe you could like get in contact with them. Like, Aku is a really nice guy. You could just talk with him a little bit. And they, they didn't have any money back then, so I got like a TE-keskus training thingy to get an internship with them, and I was able to take it. Like that's also a huge privilege to be able to take unpaid internships. So got lucky. Next, Futureplay. We decided that we want to move to Helsinki, and my husband used to work with this person who now worked at Futureplay, and they were looking for a senior game artist. I was not senior, and I was asking like if it would make sense for me to apply, and he was like, yeah, like I know your work, I know you as a person, I can put in a recommendation. And then there wasn't a lot of competition because back in the day, Futureplay was like 14 people. Now it's a bit bigger. Some of you may know the company from the work that they currently do, but there was no competition for the position, which also like there's probably a lot of people here who are applying for jobs, and you know that the competition is like fierce nowadays. Got lucky. Okay, with Metacore I was headhunted because I was making a name for myself, and I was doing the art producer job. Not a lot of people do it. Not a lot of people specialize in it because, like, a lot of artists who have to do outsourcing, for example, might not like it. I happen to like it, and I was specializing in it. So in a way, I got lucky because there wasn't a lot of like competition for that role either, because there are so few people who specialize in art production. Lucky in a way as well. So a lot of luck. There's this saying like luck is opportunity plus preparation, but I also like to say that it's also about like privilege and good timing and no competition, at least on my situation. So of course, like when you are applying for things, you need to be prepared, you need to have the portfolio, you need to be able to present the stuff that might get you forward with the opportunity that you're being presented. But there's so many other things that are contributing to that. For example, I don't think I need to tell these to you and explain from the stage, because like this is probably like everyday stuff to all of you who are trying to break into the industry, because entering the industry is quite difficult. It's not very structured how you get there. I feel like every single person who is working in games has a different kind of career path, and there's maybe a lot of luck involved in getting those positions. And currently the competition is, fierce, and the market situation is also not at its peak at the moment. Also, like most of the companies are startups or scale-ups, and they might lack the structures of actually being able to support like a traineeship program or opening up junior positions. And I try to, Metacore has a trainee program, which I think is really nice. And then I keep having these conversations with other people, like why is it so hard, to open junior positions? And it is really hard because you need people to be able to support those starts in career. Like you can't open the junior positions and be like, okay, perform, go, run, and do great. Like no, like you need time and commitment, and a lot of people are just like really busy, overworked, and there's not a lot of structure around that, and it's not great. I wish it was better. I don't know what I can do about it, but I'm gonna do something. I don't know if I can do anything. Let's see. Yeah, also you need a lot of time to work on your personal projects, which is not always a luxury that everyone has, and networks are everything, luckily. Networking in the game industry is really, really easy. Well, not really, really easy, but like relatively easy. There are a lot of great communities. Some of you already saw some of them in the stage, talking about IGDA and other. I'm losing track of what was already mentioned, but you'll get a list of them from somewhere. And the thing is, like you already heard in the stage that people in game industry are quite amazing and really helpful, which like I don't think that's hype talk. I think that's like reality, because I talk with a lot of people in the industry. I'm relatively well connected in the industry. The reason being this, like the mentorship program that We in Games Finland organizes, I'm the lead of that program. So I talk with a lot of people who potentially want to get mentored or potentially want to like mentor people, and never have I ever gotten like a, I hate mentoring, like I'm not gonna do it reply from anyone. So when you ask like, would you potentially be willing to talk with this person or help this person out or give some advice and just sit down for a coffee, like either there is a, well, I'm busy at the moment, so not now, or absolutely answer from the people. The game industry in Finland is really, really helpful and also surprisingly approachable, even though it's really, you know, intimidating to maybe go and, for example, to IGDA Helsinki, which is full of people who know each other and are talking with each other. So it might be really intimidating, but deep down, at least from where I stand, like matching, you know, mentorships around the game industry, people are really, really helpful and really open about sharing your learnings and even like sharing learnings to starting businesses, which is something that I think is really unique to Finnish game industry. What? I have 5 minutes left. I'm on my last slide. What else can I talk about? I think we can have like a longer Q&A. I hope you have some really good questions. I also included my dog in here just to make it more approachable to ask questions from me. You know, I'm gonna stay here. I have a small kid at home. He's 1, and he woke me up multiple times last night. So I'm staying at the hotel in Kotka, so no one's gonna wake me up. So I'm gonna be happy today.
Me
and
too.
also happier tomorrow. But yeah, I'm awkward. I'm reserved, but I'm approachable. I'm easy to talk to, and I love helping people out. So feel free to come talk to me, even though I'm like this.
Salla Hiiskoski. So you started off by noting that this is actually your first presentation in front of an audience.
Yes.
Miltä nyt tuntuu?
I don't know. I'm used to being awkward in front of a lot of people.
You're used to being awkward.
Yes, and I'm comfortable being awkward.
Yeah, but I think this is a great example because she had a really good, nice, relaxed presentation, right? So it's a good example. Yeah, let's give her a hand for that, yeah. You know, I think it's a typical example of where smart, self-critical people notice in themselves all kinds of details that nobody else would notice, especially since we haven't seen you before, you know, performing, etc. So that it's like a battle inside your mind. Oh no, what did I say now? What's happening next, etc. So there's a lot more going on in here than out here, where you're nice and relaxed and useful stuff, etc. So thank you for all of that. You mentioned the IRC Galleria. Are there other people here who's been there? Yeah, see. How many of you have been in touch with her at some stage? No? Okay.
Anyone from Kupoli?
Maybe. She's thinking about that. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, could be. But it's been around, of course, for a long time. I'm even older. I was the actual IRC, Internet Relay Chat, which let's even talk about that. But all of these are examples of great safe spaces. And I think this, of course, as we can note now among, not family, but friends, very good friends here is a good place to have a presentation like this. So I wanted to ask you about the companies you've been working in. And you did you know, mention something about that. Would you use a family as a metaphor in a best case scenario, or what can the company be at its really best when you really feel at home there? If that's a good apt word to ask, you use a home or family. Is it like that?
I don't think it's appropriate to speak about company being family anymore. They used. I remember when I was applying to Futureplay. That was back in 2016. And then it was still okay to talk about, like, yeah, we're like a family, we're a small startup. And I don't think people do that anymore. Like you need to have those boundaries. between work and life. And I think especially the gaming industry is getting better at it.
Is a tribe a good word?
Is a what?
Tribe, heimo. No.
Yeah.
It's too American.
I don't know.
Yeah, we're a tribe. Let's work our asses off 24/7, 367.
No, it's team. It's just a team. You know,
Yeah.
a group of people with like a common goal, hopefully well clarified goal, to which they commonly, like with common understanding, try to go towards.
And how?
I would be like, if someone is saying like we're like a family, like no, we're not. My family's at home, so bye.
Without going into details, I mean, we'll read more about your life in your biography, Oma elämänkerta, Once Upon a Time. But just superficially, without revealing too many details, how hugely different was the culture in the different companies you've been working at?
Okay, I think Rovio was the most different. Because when I joined, it was like 900 people.
It was more like a corporation.
It was a
already.
corporation, and like they grew really fast, and there was this like certain kinds of growth pains associated. Like there's always growth pains in growth, even at Metacore, and even like everywhere. It would be weird if there were no growth pains. Sure. But that was like as a first job, I think that was the weirdest in a sense, coming to this like really, it was quite hierarchical, at least from a standpoint of a trainee. And like, for example, from people who worked higher up, I've heard different kinds of stories of what it felt like in there. But you know, like the both experiences are valid, and I guess like when someone is working higher up, they don't have the visibility of what it feels like to start in a really big company. So you get blind.
But it was much more relaxed and informal at the others then.
Yeah, I mean, Fake Fish was 8 people, so that was like a complete polar opposite of what Rovio was, because it was like people straight out of school trying to do something cool together, and then I joined as maybe like one of the first people who wasn't in the gang of the school people, just trying to come there and fit in and do relevant work. So that was quite like there was no structure.
Did you realize yourself that, oh no, now I need to make some kind of mental adjustments and there is some kind of period that I need to give myself, or was that even discussed when you switched to that kind of very different job and in the subsequent switches to other companies? Was there a conscious process?
I don't think it's conscious. I mean, I do it every time.
But should it be?
Yeah, like trying to figure out, okay, what do I need to do to fit in this place? But I've been trying to like consciously get myself out of there, and just trying to get in the mindset that maybe I don't need to fit in here. Maybe I'm just coming here and adding myself and just coming here as myself to this company. I don't know if this answered the question.
Well, I was for instance, in a Korean very hierarchical and patriarchal corporation and went into small startups. So that was like 2 different worlds. And I think often it's very important for any one of us to switch from one job to another or go into a new industry, especially to really be open. Maybe ask others, what do I need to take into account, adjusting myself? What do I need to understand and learn, and how to be without changing myself at the core? But still, what do I need to realize about the culture in this organization, because they are quite different.
It helps when the culture is somehow written, and then you see that it's actually like put into action as well.
Values on a wall, or
well, it depends how the values are communicated. Like you can have really grandiose values, and then you're not living up to them. When I joined Futureplay, there wasn't any value like written. It was still originally a group of friends, then scaling up to be like a bigger company. So it was like a transitional, and then the values came afterwards when the company grew, so that everyone who was working in the company was involved in creating those values and standing like behind them and clarifying like what kinds of actions that are actually associated with these kinds of expectations. So if that's not written, it's really difficult to navigate it. Like how am I supposed to act in here if the value is like, I don't know, excellence. So what does excellence mean? I don't know. And at Future Play and also at Metacore, the expected behaviors have been clearly defined, which is
Okay.
helping a lot.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, that sounds really good. And you here publicly announced your neurodivergence, and of course in Finland and all over the world, times have changed. It's something that is more and more openly discussed and even declared. But what about in the specific job setting? Because you're not the only one here in the room.
Yep.
So the question is, how openly and freely should people expect that to be discussed, or even take into account so that you can feel good, but also be, frankly, effective in the company?
Well, when I joined Metacore, I was kind of like feeling the grounds first, like how okay is it to do
So you
this?
didn't tell anyone?
I did, yes. I mean, okay, we at Metacore, because we're a big company, we have like an internal growth and development lead who is like a psychologist who is providing like coaching and starting discussions and asking those questions like, what do you need to work efficiently?
So the company knew what you are.
Yeah, I mean, they asked. I mean, that's a lot. Like, they asked, what do I need? And I'm like, well, this is what I need, and this is how my brain works. And I hope that these accommodations are something that I'm able to do. And then our growth performance people were like, yeah.
Nice.
Gotcha.
Did you talk about it in the job interview? Oh, sorry, you were recruited. You were headhunted.
Yeah,
But
I
there
mean,
was
of
still-
course, I went through an interview
But there was
process.
still, of course, a process where they interviewed you, etc. Did you bring it up then?
No, it wasn't asked, but of course, like I'm being myself in those situations. So,
What do you mean? It's like visible. It's like on your. Does it look like she's ADHD on her forehead? You know, what do you mean? I was there talking to them, so obviously they knew. Duh, I don't know. No.
I don't think everyone like has to know, but I think it's like, especially where I work currently, like I know the ADHDers at Metacore, so that they know me. Like there's a I don't know, like if you have it, and sometimes you end up with a person and then you really click and feel like really comfortable being yourself and just being like this with someone. Like sometimes you know. At our school, I wasn't diagnosed, but I knew the people who I felt comfortable with. And were they diagnosed as adults? Yes, they were.
Okay.
Like sometimes you just know.
Right, but they might not have been diagnosed until adulthood then.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, what about the gaming industry changes then? I mean, this, of course, like in society, has become increasingly like a part of everyday life. What other changes have you seen during the past 10 years in the gaming industry specifically, for the good, for the better or worse?
It's so competitive. Like the industry is so competitive.
Much more now than 10 years.
Maybe the industry is the wrong word. The market is competitive.
For jobs.
Not only for jobs, but like for people's attention as well. It's difficult making a game of 50 million people who play it. Like it takes a lot of money, and it takes a lot of people to, keep that interest. So it's really difficult.
What about as an employee in the industry? Are there some significant changes for the better or worse that you've noticed?
I think there's more emphasis on like healthy company cultures and like understanding people's differences of like, not everyone needs to be the same kind of a thinker who doesn't have like personal boundaries and can crunch so long to make something happen. And I think there are more healthy boundaries nowadays about how it is to work.
Not family. So any questions or comments from anyone? Please just raise your hand. There is one. So we'll get a microphone to you, and obviously, it's not. I have lots of questions, but this is produced for you guys. So then we have another question in that back row over there. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is kind of a personal question. You talked about your childhood or teenage years being the one in internet and not so outgoing maybe. And you also talked that you are awkward and it's okay, which it is. But here is many students, and I believe that many of them relate to the like awkwardness, not going maybe out as a teenager. I have making very many presentations, and I know also that I'm awkward and it's okay. But how did you realize that being awkward is okay? Because it's not so clear for everyone. So what was the realization like, hey, I'm awkward and it's okay? And what can help with that feeling?
Thank you.
I think it's about, any time that I was pretending to be something that I'm not, it always felt really negative, and I didn't enjoy myself in those situations, so I would kind of like stay out of those situations because it doesn't feel good to pretend someone you're not. And I think this just came through a certain level of self-acceptance, just developing like a healthier self-esteem in a way, and self-knowledge, and just being okay with not being perfect, for example, because like there's a I guess there's a subsection of like overachieving ADHD people who I'm also part of. I felt like the only way for me to be accepted is if I'm perfect. And that's not realistic. And no one wants to be perfect. It's not fun.
Yeah, but I think it ties in with the naturally sort of self-critical, ambitious person in that sense.
And just like assuming that I'm not going to be accepted the way I am, even though like when I started presenting myself the way I am, nothing bad happened. And I think it just came through like positive reinforcement from people around me that, this is okay and I don't need to pretend.
It takes time.
It takes time, yeah.
We have another question over there. Go ahead.
Yeah, it wasn't more of a question. Just wanted to say thank you for talking about the neurodiversity. And if you keep doing that in the future would be great. As someone with ADHD and being awfully dyslexic, I definitely understand some of the challenges. And you being in a position that you can, raise awareness over these things, I just wanted to say thank you, because I understand it's your first public speaking. You did great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. On that note, actually, we'll thank you and we'll move on in the program, but with huge warm applause to Salla Hiiskoski. Kiitoksia. It's not a family gathering, but we're getting quite personal and open here. So it's not just a technology event, clearly. And of course, as we can understand, the games industry is about artistry, art, creativity. So the kind of human beings who not only feel at home, but thrive, as we heard from Salla here, could be quite special people in many ways. And in this industry, it's possible to be yourself. So that's very, very nice and encouraging, of course. So we'll move to our third speaker before the workshop here. Our next speaker has been involved in the international game industry for generations. Yes. And is the organizer of the legendary Nordic parties at GDC in San Francisco and Gamescom in Köln. Perfect Random, a video game developer company from Stockholm, and their game Sulphur were publicized and published in June 2023 and has so far accomplished 49,000 wishlist wishes on Steam. He's the CEO at Perfect Random and also the project manager at the Swedish game industry Dataspelsbranschen. Oh. Skitcool kille! Anton Albin!
Thank you. Well, I don't think I ever got an introduction like that before. That's just me. I'm Anton. I work with indie games, and I worked for 10 years at the Game Association. So I made this title. I think there's 10 stories here, how these games were made and came about. And I realized when I thought about it, most people haven't heard about these. I mean, you heard about the games, probably, but not about the people. So I work for these guys making games in Sweden. We're a trade association, so we represent all different kinds of game developers Minecraft is one. I worked there before. I worked at this job and my other job. So as with customer support. So I started with answering emails. Marcus gave us his inbox and he had 50,000 unanswered emails. And I was just like, are you going to figure this out, please? And then I worked at the trade association representing these guys. It's like NeoGames, but Sweden. And I worked there for a decade now doing all this. Well, a bunch of braggy stuff about Sweden. If my clicker works, we can move on. And here's the final thing. I'm going to brag about Sweden, and then I move on to the actual content. But I have to do this because I work for these guys.
Did you know that every 8th person in the world has played a game made by Swedes? Oh, but Sweden, aren't they too busy shopping at IKEA or dancing to ABBA? Wrong. Well, they do all of those things too. From the front line of the battlefield, to the mining and building of worlds, to finding out what it's like to wreak havoc as a goat. Sweden is responsible for a lot of visionary games. But I'm not gonna start bragging about stats, like telling you how many people play Candy Crush every month. 100 million. It's not like I can convince you to become a part of the Swedish games industry by showing you these numbers, telling you exactly why there's never been a better time to do so. Take it from this Swede instead.
Yeah, it's true.
See? Told ya. So, if you're interested in belonging to a community with diverse people focused on bringing the highest level of creativity to a fan base, that in turn allows this business to be one of the most profitable in the world, I'd start thinking about becoming a Swede.
I'm sorry. I have to. I mean, I'm in Finland. This is like, I feel dirty, but we made that video during Corona because we were bored and we couldn't travel and we couldn't do events anymore. So we made a braggy ad, and I have to show it. Anyway, moving on, we represent these guys, and as the youngest guy in the team, I ended up being interested in young companies and startups and indies. So I ended up as our indie ambassador. So a bunch of our members are like started as startups, like Landfall, made totally accurate battle simulator. We have Helldivers, Arrowhead, they made Magicka as students, and teams like that. So these are my favorite thing about the industry and about the games industry as a whole. Here as well is just meeting these young companies and like the coming of age stories that happen. So, who's indie? Some baseline here. You need creative freedom and independence. If you have independence but no creative freedom, like work for hire, outsourcing services, like if you can't find a publisher, maybe you can rent out some talent for Fingersoft or somewhere where they have a lot of games and a lot of players, but they need your talent. Or you can be the internal studio, you have nothing of that. You have bosses and producers telling you what to make. You can be internal R&D if you work at Supercell or these different like smaller teams. You have a lot of experiments to do. You have a lot of creative freedom, but you don't have a lot of independence, I guess, because you're hired to make innovation for others. But if you own your work, you're an indie. And you need both of these. You need commercial goals and a vision. If you only have a vision, but you don't really know how to reach people with your vision or make it interesting or make people care, then you're a starving artist, and we have plenty of those. You can be a sellout if you have. We see those too, right? I mean, the Web3 guys. If you've been to any of these. I'm sorry if any of you are doing those startups, but yeah, you know who they are. Like a while ago it was that, and then it was Web3, and now it's AI. So you can try to cash grab it. Usually doesn't work. Or you can be an independent entrepreneur. So you need stuff in your team. You need programmers. You need graphics, and you need good design. You also need these three things. You need the tech to work, otherwise you won't be on many platforms, maybe none of them. You need business people. If you don't have business people, you will just be starving artist probably. And you need the creatives, otherwise your game won't be interesting, probably. So you need this organic spread. I'm sorry, that was a too stupid pun. Anyway, I made this. This is incorporated by me. This is what you need. You need to make a prototype. You need people to care. If they don't care, you scrap and redesign and make people care, like in your close vicinity, on internet, on TikTok, before it was like Imager and stuff. I don't know where people are these days, all over the place. Try to find somebody to care what you do and keep going. Anyway, so I have some examples. Here are my friends. They made this for a weekend. We love this game. It's called Lots of Cubes. I don't know if I'm allowed to show this, but it's a great Game Jam game. Please don't steal it. Anyway, it's about cubes. They have different abilities. So you spawn them. It's a player versus player. You make a team out of a couple of cubes, or 4 of them or something. You have credits. You see the number going up there. You get, so they cost differently. They have different abilities. There's a ninja, there's a close range, there's a sniper. So it's really simple, easy to prototype, and it's kind of a tower defense idea. It was so much fun. We love this game. They put it out on the internet. People didn't care. People didn't care at all about this game. So they were like, okay, we need to remake it somehow. We know it's fun to play, but if strangers will never pick it up, it doesn't matter. So one of the guys, his name is Willem, he was playing around with physics and doing like janky physics stuff. So they remade the game and it became this. There, yeah. So yeah, you might have seen this game. It was a bunch of years ago. It ended up as the Totally Accurate Battle Simulator. This is way more, I mean, you hear just the reactions in the audience. Like the other game, not as fun to watch being played. This was a big YouTube hit. So they went to another game jam, scrapped it, redesigned it to this, put it out on YouTube, made a demo, and yeah, the rest is history. They had to work on this for 3 years, 4 years, something, before it was released. I think it might have been 5 years before the actual final release of the game. They remade it 3 times, and I mean, it was a really successful game, but they should have made it the first game, in my opinion. It was great though. Great success. They had hundreds of millions of kronor. Good for them. Another game, Slap City. These guys are kind of if the Triforce where you need business. They have a business guy, but none of them actually think it's kind of, you know, it's like sleazy to do a lot of being salesmen, right? So they just make amazing games, and they always do all right. But this game in particular is really amazing. It's like a Smash-like, and it's not melee Smash. It's more like Nintendo 64 Super Smash Brothers was made in like the next century. Really cool game. They have made like so many games through the years. This company has existed for more than 10 years. So they have like an arsenal of characters and like worlds and interesting like world building they've made before, so they compiled that together like Nintendo and made the fighting game. And nobody cared. I mean, I cared, and a lot of like a few hundred of their fans did, or 1,000, but it's not enough to sustain like a game dev studio. So they were like, okay, well, we'll see what we do with this. And then this one Melee forum picked it up and started like this one little forum that was really influential for like maybe 40,000 people or something instantly like cared about the game, and it was out there. If they would cared about marketing and didn't think it was sleazy and ugly and bad, they probably would have had their success before. They did eventually because the game is amazing. So you can make an amazing game, but it will take long before people pick it up if you don't tell people about your game. Ludosity is the company, by the way. They make really cool stuff. They made the Nickelodeon fighting game. That's really big now. So they got that contract because they made a cool game. So you can do that too. Another example is, this is from Gotland, one of the game developer hubs, or I mean, education programs. So you go to the university for 3 years. These guys made a thing called Anchored. It was super complicated to play, and you shouldn't make that game as a student. It was like a strategic game over the clouds, where you build a city and manage like a strategic, like city builder, management, buying and selling, and it's expanding. And at night you go down on Earth where everything's poisoned, and you like scavenge loot, and you kill enemies, and you level up your team, and you go back above the clouds, your gear, and if you die, stuff happens, and you get blah, blah, blah. It's like super complicated, and you cannot make that game as your first game. So, I mean, it had potential, but it was like the jury, us as a jury at that, you know, award show was like, you should win awards because this is amazing, but you can never finish this game. It can't be made. You need to like take some small aspect of this game, so take a part of it, maybe just like going through the loot, through the fog, and all the poison, and the waves of enemies, and surviving or something. I don't know, but make it smaller. So they did. They came back. Wait. No, I'm missing. Oh, I told a different story. This is a different slide. Anyway, they made... it's so dark, you couldn't see it. They made Raft, which is the next slide. Have you heard about Raft? Raise your hand if you heard of Raft. Otherwise, I have to switch slides. Nice. Then I don't have to switch slides. They made Raft, which is like a part of that game. You know, you're on a raft. You find stuff. You can expand, make stuff. So, like, really, like, I was like, okay, you guys are geniuses. And yeah, the rest is history. So, let's pretend this is the fourth slide, and I switched, and now I tell a different story. So this, do you remember Garrison in World of Warcraft? Anybody played World of Warcraft, the old one, where there was Garrison? Okay, that was a fun thing. And they were like, also like, okay, they wanted to make an MMO, but they were students, they can't make an MMO. Everybody tells them, you can't make an MMO. So they're like, okay, we won't make an MMO. Is there anything we enjoy about World of Warcraft that we can make? So they ended up taking that part. It's like you have a team, or you have like NPCs. They go out on missions and they come back with loot, and that's the game loop. Like they go out, you find it's like an endless loot box with like some management stuff. It's really cool. It ended up becoming Castle Cats. Before they made that, they tried to like do like the King or like the super hyper casual games, and they were like totally like slaughtered when they pitched those games because it was so obvious. Like they made like Sling a Kitty or Carpet Kitty, that was like super casual games, and the jury was like, so do you enjoy these games? Like when he was standing on stage, like pitching, like, do you enjoy playing this game yourself? And he was like, and then he started crying, literally. He couldn't answer that question. He left the stage crying, and then they came back. They were like, okay, we shouldn't make hyper casual games if we don't enjoy them ourselves. And they ended up making Castle Cats instead, which has been a success. Another story is Passepartout. Their basic idea was, we need a game where YouTubers make stuff and people want to watch them do stuff. So they had a basic idea of, it should work on YouTube, it should be fun to watch and fun to play. And so they started with this super simple NPC AI thing where you draw something, the NPC reacts to it. And they were like, okay, this is fun. People enjoy like a simple reaction to a simple input. And that's kind of the game loop. You sell art, you're a starving artist in France and you make beautiful art or silly art or stupid art, and it's fun to play and it's fun to watch, so it was a success on YouTube. I don't know, they probably had failures before, or they're too smart for that. But that's a really nice way of doing it. This is Anchored, that I told the story about at the wrong slide, that became Raft. It's a really cool student game, but you should never make a huge game like this. It's your first project. It would probably take like 3 or 5 years to make for like big team. Anyway, that was cool in 2017, and it became Raft. Another simplifying bigger ideas, Battle of Polytopia. Anybody played it? Enjoyed it? Yeah? It's like, what's the genre called? Like triple X, 4x, like exploration, exploitation, or something. Anyway, it's like Civilization. Like it's a Civ-like for the phone. Like the guy was like, I love Civilization 2. It doesn't exist anymore. You can barely play it. So he was like, I can try to make that and make it simple and work on a phone. And he did. So you can, like, if you want a game on a platform that doesn't exist, that's also a way. It's way simpler than Civilization, in my opinion, better, because it's less layered. It's like you start simple and you play it. Great game. Another one is like, I don't know, if maybe you're young enough to have played this. Have you played this game? Slendria or Granny? Yeah? Because this is like, when I show this to fellow millennials, they have no idea what this is. This was a thing, I don't know, maybe 5-7 years ago. Really big on the schoolyard, like scaring each other, playing scary games on your phone. These are well-designed, simple horror games that he made, one person, outskirts of Stockholm. The art is kind of horrible, but the design is amazing. Like, it's simple, like, I'm alone in the house, it's scary, somebody's trying to kill me, probably, I don't know. I think it's Granny. Oh, it's a Let's Play, let's go. So you walk around the house, you look for like a key to get out of the house. That's it. This is like one of the biggest genres now on Roblox too. I've seen Granny rip-offs on Roblox that are like top rated. So they stole this guy's art and concept and design and everything, and just remake it in Roblox, and they get successful. Don't do that. That's boring. Make new games, but that's just a telling of like, if you're on a new platform, nobody's doing what you're doing, and it's, you know, nice and people want it. I picked this up because it was like top rated, and I saw his company was like having like a huge turnover in the books. Like in the Swedish, we go through, as a trade association, we go through all the books every year. And I was just so surprised, like, what is this guy doing? And he was making these games. Nobody knew about him. I tried to play it, and it was really well designed, so it makes sense. And as you hear, it's like the same simple piano. It's like this type of art. It's just like the puzzles are good, simple, level design. It's great. And I don't know what to say about Gunman Clive, except it's a cool, simple thing. But another person, one guy team, but he's kind of crazy. He makes his own engine from scratch. Had been doing that for a long time. But if you look at the game, you can understand how maybe one person can make it, especially today when you have better tools. But it's like he makes shaders to make his simple art look good. So it looks like hand drawing kinda. And he has his way of animating and kind of floaty, balloony jumps and stuff. It's probably not perfect compared to a lot of modern like platformer action games. I mean, but from one person, it's amazing. Like, it's really, and he's sustained a living on this series for a long time. And it's also like simplifying something, making it, package it, so you can make it yourself. here's one of my final stories. This game is amazing. It was a platformer with a super weird input. On Gotland, the education over there, they have 1-year students. They have to have a different input for their games. So these guys, they had like a bicycle pump as an input device. So you spin the pump thing, like the handle bar, to rotate, and you pump it to make the frog go bigger, and you go through levels. So these guys, they wanted to make platformers. They wanted to start a company, make platformers. This game is just too good. Maybe it's not viewable from this trailer, but it's one of my favorite student games of all time. It's just, that's because of the level design. They are amazing level designers, but everybody told them you cannot release like a platformer. Like nobody, if you look at Steam, nobody buys a platformer. There's no way of selling a platformer on Steam. If you do it pixel art, it's even worse. So you have to make something different. So they tried to make like a racing game. It wasn't as good. And then they made a platformer anyway. And that became Jump King. If you've played this game, you know why it's different. It's kind of they have the jumping mechanic from Castlevania. So if you hold down the jump button longer, you jump higher and jump longer. If you hold down for a short fraction of a second, you jump shorter. That's it. And they have superb level design. And that became kind of a rage game, which was intentional, because they figured that if the game is hard but simple, kind of like Super Meat Boy, but worse, because it's not very forgiving, because you can fall down a long way, like Bennett Foddy's Getting Over It. So they didn't listen to people's advice, or they listened but they tweaked it and made it anyway, and made a big success from this game. And now they're making a follow-up that's going to be a multiplayer game, which is taking a toll on them, as you might expect. And yeah, that's the mission. They didn't listen to like the diversity talks either, I think, or they didn't, but they thought it was fun anyway. Like, broy guys, great. I'm a big fan. They make some of the best level design from Sweden. And my final example is these guys, especially the guy to the left. He's the craziest guy, one of the craziest game designers I know. He was an intern at Coffee Stain. They made Sanctum. So it's like a first-person tower defense game, kind of unique and interesting. Then he was a designer on Sanctum 2 as like his first job, and then they were moving on to the next project, and they were like, okay, can we make Sanctum 3? Is that really, like, are we that type of studio that can only make that game, or should we innovate? So they invited all the entire team. Anybody can pitch a game. So Armin on the left, he pitched a game where there's this fancy like fine dining table, and you enter the room as a goat, and you just ruin everything. And the studio was like, okay, is that a game? He was like, yeah, goats are funny. And they're like, okay, no, you have to. This is like the biggest meme online are goats. And it's so much fun. If we just make a goat game, it will be so fun. And the rule was kind of, you have to have at least one person to join you on the prototype, and you get a free week to do it. And the other guy, the guy on the right with the hats, his friend, who was also kind of an intern, was like, yeah, signing up. So they were two working on that. Nobody else wanted to touch that idea because they wanted to make serious, interesting, intricate, very pretentious, very good games. And of course, as you can tell, that became Goat Simulator. So after a week of just prototyping, they had like a goat falling over, and the entire company was kind of, surveilling the computer and like laughing about the goat falling around. But it was still not taken seriously. Like it was still kind of yeah, you do that, okay, you get another week, you can prototype some more. So Armin made this trailer. He asked for permission, but he couldn't put it on the company YouTube, so he put it on his own YouTube. That was Armin Ibrasagic. And if you're old as old as me, you know this is the Dead Island trailer, a spoof of the Dead Island trailer where you see the zombie apocalypse happening backwards and like the catastrophe happening backwards. But of course, it's the goat flying through a building, and you can see the origin of where I think he licks a gas station, and that creates an explosion or something. Beautiful. And this got, I don't know how many, I think it got like a bunch of million of views in just a couple of days. So they came back to the office like on a Monday and like, they still didn't know, can we make this game? It was like the board of the company was like, what should we do with this? Like, but we have to take this opportunity. So they were like, okay, you get a month to make the game. So they finished. Yeah, you laugh because you know that it's not going to be great. It was so buggy, but since Armin did all the copy and was the kind of the creative director and the marketer of the game, all the bugs were features. He made this really intentionally, like we know that it's bad and that's what you pay for. We want your money, and kind of being upfront about it. So he handled all the PR, marketing, and stuff for the game for a few years before he started a new company. And that's my 10 examples of indies. Yeah, I just want to make a small little plug here. How many? Oh, I have 2 minutes. Perfect. My trailer is 2 minutes. That was yeah, I already showed you that one. So this is the game we're making. I don't know if this story is not told yet, because it's still in the
These creatures infernal, these perils eternal. Lord, heal me, free me.
So this is our violent, cute, like if it's called, somebody called it Kindergarten Doom, which I think is a great way of, or I usually say it's like if you mix, like if Diablo and Doom had a baby, and that baby grew up watching Adult Swim cartoons. They shouldn't be watching, probably. So it's kind of, we put in a lot of stupid jokes, and we try to make it, but it's kind of a pretentious, like first-person roguelite, dungeon crawler, adventure, single player. So we're kind of pretentious, but we in like what the game is, but we don't take ourselves too seriously. So that's Sulphur. Please wishlist on Steam. And I think we have 1 minute for questions. Thank you, guys.
Having seen that, I have a lot of questions about your childhood and other. As you can see in Finland, you know, we're very personal and intimate. You know, I know in Sweden you're more like silent and cold, and you know, but here we talk much. So no, wow, very interesting. And I just have one question about this game. Does it have one-liners like we have in Duke Nukem?
No, it's just like No, it's just like it was cool to have a voice in the trailer, but we don't have any voices. There's just like if you talk to a goblin or like a merchant, it's like stuff like that.
But so as a Duke Nukem fan, I wasn't joking about that. Played it through a number of times.
But we love one-liners, like
yeah. But as a game, it's right up my alley. So I have 3 questions basically, and of course we can take 1 or 2 from the audience, and they will move to the Fly AR demo / workshop here. So the elephant in the room is AI, and we won't overstate it, but I really want to understand how you in Sweden are talking and discussing AI versus human originality right now. Are you scared shitless? Do you see more like an opportunity? Is everybody embracing it? What's going on in our dear neighboring country?
We're scared shitless. And we love it, of course. It's amazing. It's so much fun. The tools are a lot of fun to work with. But of course, everybody's scared for the future. I mean, it's going to kill us all. No, but seriously though, no. So we view it as an opportunity to make tools better. Like in our team, for example, I localized our game to Japanese myself or not completely myself. I need a human to vouch that this is a language. But then I could, synthesize my voice into Japanese, and I know like "eigo ka hanashemasu ka?" and stuff like that. So I entered like 1 minute of that, and then I could synthesize myself speaking Japanese. And it's like 90%. They get like 90% what I'm saying, but it's like it's Japanese with a Swedish accent. So they still haven't. Oh fuck! It's being filmed. Well, they don't know English, or I mean, fuck, they do. A lot of them. Journalists do. Famitsu, I'm sorry. I've used AI to speak Japanese, and you know now. But at least on Twitter, up until now, they haven't known that it's actually AI. So stuff like that can happen. Us as a 4-people team can do more with less, and I still need a marketing agency or a localization agency to make it. Like, I use all the budget I have to make as much as possible. So I use my PR budget for localization with this marketing company agency that is cross-national, Sweden, Japan, and I'm paying them hourly to translate my stuff. It's just way better and more content than we could have had without AI. So it's just a small example. But of course, it's scary if your job is replaced by just, I want a nicer platformer controller, and nobody has to make the input anymore. I mean, then there's one less gameplay programmer, maybe, or they can do more with us. So far, what I've seen is nobody's been replaced by AI. It's just people can do more stuff. Like with visual scripting, people didn't lose their jobs with visual scripting. So, but we don't know about the future. But up until now, I've just seen improvements in our capability.
Yeah. I think what we're seeing right now, and will be seeing more and more year by year, is that a human plus AI equals 3. It's like 1 + 1 is 3. You're much faster, more efficient and effective, etc. So clearly we're seeing that, of course, if you create graphics or anything like that. For me as a voice, of course, it's a big threat because, well, we'll see for how long they'll use human voices or go to AI voices. And by the way, it's okay to make fun of Japanese. It's like a Japanese film, you know. Lips are moving and
okay, good to know.
Yes. So, second question: what should we be learning from what you guys are doing in Sweden?
Should I say? Oh no, nothing.
No, go ahead. Make it a long list. Turn the knife in our wound.
I'm actually not sure. Because we admire your stuff too much. Like, I'm so jealous of your AAA companies right now, making the coolest shit ever. Like, I mean, Alan Wake 2, Returnal is one of my favorite games this generation. So, or I think it's my favorite game. It's better than Elden Ring or whatever happened.
What are you specifically proud of then? Let's put it that way.
So what I'm proud of is probably the broad nature of what type of games made. I mean, Finland is definitely excelling in mobile. Bigger than anybody else, probably per capita.
Yeah, bigger than anybody else in the world.
No, I think it's true. It's just a fact.
It is a fact.
The Supercell,
don't. You have to be really serious now. Don't.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's a fact.
It's a fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how.
Otherwise, we're insulted.
It's my deepest voice. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's how deep it goes. I'm from Sweden. We talk like this.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But other things you're proud of, because obviously,
I'm proud of that broadened kind of the broad spectrum of type of games. Like the guys I told about from Gotland, they get to have a stupid input system their first year making arcade games. It's not very commercially viable, but they learn a lot and they can put that into other projects. So it's more kind of console PC focused than mobile in a lot of like ways to make games and look at production. So I'm proud of like all the indies and all the PC straight to Steam premium games that are being made, because that's hard. It's really hard to be free to play too. I would never touch that personally. It's really like it's a different type of beast and monster, and you have like role models all over doing that. So it probably makes sense to listen to their know-how. So don't switch focus because I said so. Do whatever you think is best.
So my last question was actually, of course, looking at the Finnish gaming industry, what are you jealous of us in Sweden? You mentioned the AAA
Housemarque.
These kind of companies.
Yeah.
And that's, of course, everybody's jealous of Finland all over the world, and that's why we have, fortunately, some people coming from other countries, regardless of some narrow-minded individuals or stupid bureaucrats. Please come to Finland. We have great people, friendliness, climate, and great gaming industry. Come here. We need you. Come.
And the best sauna.
Yes.
Seriously though, like if you go to companies, if you visit a company at a office party and you can actually go sauna.
Yeah.
Come on. That's a superior party. So
Exactly. Are you jealous of that too?
I was promised that. Yeah, that's why I'm here.
Okay.
Like I was promised sauna.
Okay.
So I look forward to that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
You seem fairly frank and honest. Everything you've said is not sucking up to us, so we appreciate, of course, for making us feel better here in Finland, the little brother of Sweden. After all, for 600 years, we were the Östra Rikshalvan, just the eastern half of Sweden. I mean, almost all kings in Sweden were our kings because we were part of Sweden until 1809. So thank you for your graciousness, and thank you for coming here to the easternmost woods here in the old kingdom. We appreciate you here, and you'll be staying here for tonight, or are you flying back?
Yeah, I'm staying.
To safety?
I'm staying till tomorrow.
Exactly. So a warm hand.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anton Aldin.
Should I leave the stage, or do we take questions from the audience?
We can have one or two questions.
Sorry, I didn't mean to take...
No, I'm just looking at the demo here and the schedule, but we can, because we had
It says 2-minute Q&A right here. Does that mean we have 2 minutes, or is
then in that case it's
one.
special. Then we'll do that, yes. Screw the schedule, this is the holy clock.
Sorry.
Let's take... No, I'm glad no, that's perfectly fine.
I have a question. Hi, I remember your guys' game from the Pocket Gamer. And every one of my friends who played it loved it a lot. So my question is, when you will release the game on Steam, will you ask PewDiePie to play it?
I think he won't touch it, especially if you ask. Armin, the guy who made Goat Simulator, made his next game together with PewDiePie. And it was a catastrophe because of reasons that happened at that time surrounding PewDiePie on, you can watch YouTube. No, we won't. But I'll spam anybody who replies. But from my understanding, like those type of big YouTubers, you can't get a hold of really. But I've never thought about it. Maybe that's not a bad idea. Maybe I should.
You need to talk more.
Yeah, we need to give me more ideas, please. So like this.
Okay, I asked it as like silly question, but now it makes me curious. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, another question or comment? Tomaatteja, risuja, ruusuja, pikkareita, jotain muuta lavalle heitetään. Yes, I won't translate that.
What was that?
Ordinary Finnish sayings about rock stars on stage.
Kiitos.
Oh. It was purely polite. You can have ChatGPT translate what I just said on the video. Go ahead. Yes, sir.
Yes, I don't really have a question, but Slap City is one of my favorite games of all time, and I absolutely love it. Goat Simulator was my first Steam game ever, and I really appreciate the things you guys are doing in Sweden. Keep doing it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, thank you. I'll tell the guys that. They'll be proud to hear that.
That was spontaneous and real. We didn't just want to make you feel good. It was. He's a real guy.
Okay.
He's not an actor.
Oh, okay.
Actor, yeah. So thank you again so much, Anton Aldin, for coming here, and let's talk with him and each other all evening. Warm thanks.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So now we have one more program, about 20-ish minutes. We have here a workshop/demo. It's from Fly AR, an augmented reality studio. And with us, with a warm welcoming hand, we have Frans Tihveräinen.
Hello. Hello, nice to see you. Yeah, this. Thanks for having me. Oh, this is. Let's meet my little friend. And okay, yeah, let's start the show. I'll bring real Franz over here. Yeah, hey. Do you have these Tattio today sometime? But yeah, I'll climb over here. Hello. Yeah, we're having a slight change in plans with the workshops. But let's see, I'll take my presentation here. Yeah, I'm Frans Tihverainen. I came from Vantaa. I run a company called Flyer Augmented Reality Studio, and like the name suggests, we augment reality. And I founded this company in 2017 with my friend Eero Salminen. We're a very small team now. Eero is actually full-time working at another company, but still hengessä mukana with us. And our company, Flyer Augmented Reality Studio, focuses purely on augmenting reality and sometimes giving talks about augmented reality and facilitating workshops. And yeah, also when we create AR projects, we make like 3D models which are sometimes used also outside the AR context. But we are like content studio, creative content studio, not a tech company. So we're not building our own platforms or apps or hardware. Instead, we use other companies and people's software and hardware to create different kinds of solutions that more often than not include AR. And this is our current tech stack at the moment. It's kind of changing. We're always keeping our eyes and ears open for good new additions. But I'll be showing you some examples soon. And out of these, Zapper is a web AR platform, kind of similar to Eighth Wall or Arilyn or Blipper. But we've been using Zapper for a long time, and we're quite happy with it so far. And here is some visual breakdown of the production services we do. So web AR, you'll get to see a few examples. How many of you enjoy downloading apps? No, yeah, I mean, yeah, I've never heard anyone say like, fuck yeah, I get to download an app. That's why web AR is a nice thing, because we don't need to download any more apps, but everyone has supercomputer, pocket-sized supercomputer, which has internet browser, and the AR app opens up in your browser. And this 3D embeds is like a side step from AR. We noticed that when we're creating lightweight and optimized, good-looking 3D content, it only makes sense to use it as much as possible, so we can embed interactive 3D things on websites. Similarly to how YouTube videos are embedded as iframes, we can embed bits of 3D. And we also create filters and lenses and effects for TikTok, Snapchat, and Instagram. Out of the 3 social platforms, I feel that Snapchat is like technically the furthest in AR context so far, and TikTok just sucks. Oh, sorry. No, we had a few bad experiences with TikTok. Everything was working, but then like I don't know. We got it to work, luckily, but actually we didn't even do anything. It just started working like it should after not working for a while. But what AR can do? Augmented reality is not just one thing. It's a whole bunch of things. So it's very hard to answer when people like sometimes reach out and ask like, we'd like one AR. How much does it cost? But I feel that the best use cases for AR is presenting products and visualizing like complex subjects and processes in interactive and visual way. And this engage your audience means, or is like in the social media context, you can create even some like viral campaigns using AR filters. You'll see a good example soon of that. And then all kind of print materials can be enhanced with AR. This web AR is especially good with image tracked solutions. So anything printed, for example, a food product package, which you haven't bought before, and you're wondering that what should I cook with this, you can like add AR layer to the food package, which will give you recipes that change every week. But I strongly feel that most of the best AR use cases and ideas are still waiting to be found. Like these are still the baby steps in AR. And then just briefly about these different kinds of Rs. XR, extended reality, is like an umbrella term for all types of extended realities, which are somehow enhanced with digital elements. And real reality is where we are now, tactile, like analog physical reality. In AR, we take a small piece of digital and anchor it to the real world. Like you saw my digital alter ego, he was anchoring to this planar surface, which was detected by my phone. And in mixed reality, the AR device or platform takes into account more aspects of the physical surroundings than just a plain floor. So if this little running front sling would have been a mixed reality implementation, it would have recognized this bit, and this bit would have hidden the digital items and had like occlusion. And augmented virtuality is like the platypus of XR. In that we take parts of real reality and embed that inside virtuality. Few examples of that would be some Kinect games where the camera is filming the player and showing it on TV in like kind of inside the game. And also in a VR world, for example, Varjo's glasses with the pass-through, you can see your real hands. And everyone will probably be familiar with virtual reality, which is fully virtual and you can't see the real reality through at all. But in AR, real reality is in the main role and the AR augmented part is just like enhancing the real reality. And then there are very many different types of tracking in AR. Like the example you saw with the little running front sling was plane tracking. My device detected that this is a planar surface and I can anchor stuff to this planar surface. Planar surfaces can be flat or horizontal. And then we can also anchor stuff to faces or body parts like hands, one hand, or you can use two hands and measure the distance between your hands and do something fun. I have an example of that too. And then image tracking is like the traditional way of augmenting reality. So we'll have an image target and the AR content anchors to this image. And when I move this image, the digital content will move with it. But I think the coolest tracking type is spatial AR, or like a custom location which has been scanned and then AR content is anchored accurately within that location. And I think this tech is progressing very fast, and there are companies like Immersal and Snapchat and well, Apple too, who are offering like bits of technology that enable us to create spatial augmentations. That could be cool, very cool for example, a sports arena where there is like a hockey game, and in between the hockey game periods, the whole arena full of people could play some massive multiplayer AR game which is anchored to the arena location. And then there are different ways to interact with augmented reality content as well. And I think interaction is very important to enhance the AR experience. Like if you just see a 3D model here, like if the running around character here would have just been a static 3D model standing there, it would have been kind of boring. Like 10 years ago that was cool-ish, and now it's a bit boring. You have to have interaction for AR to be effective, unless there is like a specific use case where you have to just only show a 3D model. Like often, less is more in AR. And the traditional way of interacting is to tap on your screen. But you can also interact by, for example, with face filters. You can have stuff happen when you open your mouth. You can launch an action. When you close your left eye, something will happen. When you close your right eye, something will happen. Or when you move your hands, something else will happen. And now we are doing some experimental R&D work at FlyAR. We're creating a custom location Snapchat lens, which is now at the moment it's a big ball which lives in our office. It's like a floating bubble, but when I go closer to the ball, it gets more transparent. And if I move up, it'll get more red. And if I move to the left, it'll get more green. And when I rotate my device, the ball scales on different axes. Like if I rotate my phone this way, it'll scale this way. If I rotate my phone this way, the ball will scale this way. So we're testing this kind of intuitive ways of, well, might not be intuitive yet, but this kind of different ways of interacting with AR content. And the use case for this is like an art gallery. And then you could also add some kind of multiplayer functionality so that there are multiple people in the same AR session, and then, for example, the distance between different players could be used as a parameter to control animations or launch other kind of actions. And who has an AR device, or who doesn't have an AR device? Yeah, everyone has an AR device because everyone has a phone. You didn't fall for it. But yeah, phone is the most used AR device at the moment. But also there are different kinds of headsets which are also like AR or mixed reality devices. Now we bought Quest 3 for FlyAR, which is it's cool. So we still haven't done any buildings or development work for those. But I'll show you a few examples. Few examples from here. Where's my camera? And yeah, this is WebAR implementation. This is kind of like our company business card. And when I scan the QR code with my camera, it opens up this AR experience in my mobile or in my default browser, which is Chrome now. And when I'm pointing at the image, the AR content anchors to the picture. So this is an image tracking augmentation. And the print could be a roll-up, a business card, postcard, poster, sticker on the floor, or a product package, or a t-shirt, or a tattoo even. We still haven't augmented tattoos. And this is like a living scale model of our office. This is me, here's Eero, here's Nico, but no one is there at the moment really. And then these little info buttons open up small like informational pop-ups. And if I lose this image from the camera view, this is like a plan B, so it sticks to our screen. And then this is a quite cool combination of media types. So when I tap the 360 button, it opens the 360 from inside our office. Or this is like a rendering from inside the 3D model, because we didn't have a 3D or 360 camera at the time, and we hadn't cleaned up. And we always like to add some fun Easter eggs. So here is we switch this to, sorry, we are closed. Then the lights go out and we're playing Nintendo the whole night. This is the final boss of Broforce. Yeah, that was one. And then one night I was thinking about what other cool round things there are in addition to our flyer. And I thought of pizza and records. And unfortunately, I think the audio is not working. Tässä ei ole piuhankaan joku. Ei futannut tuollakaan tän ääni. But you can imagine a nice like dub track playing. And when we click the start stop, there's a nice little click. And these little buttons take the user to Spotify or Instagram. And here's a little info menu about the band. And someone commented that, hey, you should make a cassette also. And of course we made a cassette. Like it's the same thing, except it's a cassette. Yeah, we think we should make a mini disc still. I've made, like, as a young engineerling, I made a like gramophone, but it was like object tracking. It was an old like suitcase gramophone, and when you looked at the gramophone with an app, then the record like anchored to the physical gramophone. And then look at the details. When I rewind, the tape actually goes back. Whoa! But it's not real tape. Then I'll show one museum project. Like we do lots of this kind of living scale models of things. Sometimes products, sometimes a construction project, sometimes Alvar Aalto building. Like this we made a few years ago for Tuusula, Kerava and Järvenpää. Oopsies. Good call. Here we're back. Yeah, we've made lots of these living scale models, and this one was a museum project for Tuusula, Kerava and Järvenpää cities. So it's like not to scale, but the main roads and like lake shape, and it's like you can realize or you know what area it is if you're at all familiar with it. And we like to add small little details like traffic and trains, which are never late. These trains, they're always on time. But the cool thing of this is that you can click on these little icons and visit 10 different museums in a 360 image. And there are small little infos within these as well. And then each of these museums had their own unique AR image, like physically on location. And when you scanned that, then you got like a leima, a stamp to this little view. And when you collected 5 stamps, you got an ice cream. And if you collected 10 stamps, you got a mega prize. and this, like the stamp info, was somehow saved in the cache or cookies, but that wasn't 100% reliable, so we probably won't do it again. But it worked quite well. But then there are many reasons why like cookies or cache could disappear. I'll show one more, or maybe I'll show a few Instagram filters. Hey, could someone be a volunteer? Seppi. Yeah, I just want someone to play with my balls. You're welcome. Yeah, we try and do some like experimentation when we don't have projects that pay the bills. We try to play around. Yo, can you come a little bit closer? There. And now you have a thing attaching to your head. Could you show me one hand? And when one hand appears, then it anchors to one hand. Now could you take the other hand as well, both hands? And you can like, move them a bit closer to each other. Good. Oops, now it's quite glitchy, it's a bit dark. Can you do Thanks. Okay, now I'm getting a copy that like this. Good. And move them a bit like this. Yeah, Instagram is not recognizing hands super well. But here the 3D elements are textured with the live camera feed. So this is mixing layers of reality, and this should be audio reactive, but for some reason the audio reactivity is not working like it should. But when the mic is hearing sound, it should animate the 3D thing. But I just noticed today that it's probably had some kind of an update. Yo, kiitos. I'll show this one. This one too. I like to skateboard. Oops. Yeah, the lighting is challenging. But here we made a skating little Franzling, and when you shout, "Do a kickflip," he'll do a kickflip. But you can also shout, "Do a tray flip." But he only knows a kickflip, and he doesn't know words. Actually, he's only listening to when the volume reaches a certain level. Whoopsies. I hope you saw the kickflip. It was a perfect landing. Yeah, that one's audio reactivity worked, but the balls has unfortunately updated. But then I'll show a few examples from our Instagram here. Our Instagram is the flyer, if you want to follow what kind of stuff we're doing. But here's one project we did this last summer. It was a Forum Virium nopea kokeilu quick trial project for Mellunkylä area in eastern Helsinki. The point was to make something in Mellunkylä area which makes the place more viihtyisä for young kids or like youngsters, youth, teens. And we thought that this is a good chance to try out Snapchat custom location lenses so that someone pays a little bit for it. And we got like a small pilot budget and quick schedule and got to make this kind of a ball game. And this anchors to that specific location in eastern Helsinki. And it works within Snapchat, so we didn't need to build or publish an app for this. And we learned lots of things, like firstly, teens are a tough crowd to get interested about anything, but the people who we got to play this, they really liked the game, and it wasn't as intuitive to like control the 3D balls with a tiny mobile device. So we thought that if we get to continue this, we'll pivot the idea from trying to push balls into a goal into a more like Beat Saber style of game where things are coming at you and you have to collect good things and dodge bad things. So then the movement that is required is more intuitive, and also it's going to be much lighter on processing, because tens and tens of ball instances with physics was quite heavy for devices. And oh yeah, I mentioned the viral potential. Maybe you heard of this guy who did the Cha 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 song. Yeah, Warner Music called us a week before the finals and said that we'd like to make this kind of a Bolero filter for TikTok and Snapchat. Instagram was. We didn't make it for Instagram because Instagram doesn't support proper full body tracking. And then, yeah, we made the filter and he almost won. And it was so fun to watch how this filter was living online, because the video where Käärijä himself is using it is his most popular TikTok with over 25 million views, and then there were over 20,000 user-generated videos using this filter. We had a few fun nights watching these videos. And yeah, and that was about it. Hey, actually, if you want to try this office, it's easier to try from here. I'm not sure if you want to try and scan it with your own device. You can see how the WebAR experience works. This kind of image tracked solutions are always best viewed as a physical print of some sort, but it works off screen, like for demo purposes.
Cool. Warm applause to Frans Stiveren and FlyAR.
Thanks.
And
Yeah.
you'll be here all night.
Unfortunately not. I have
You're
a
leaving.
bus going home to Vantaa.
Vantaa.
Yeah.
This is Kotka.
Yeah, but I promise to visit next summer, the latest.
So you're leaving like fairly soon, in a few minutes, or?
Well, within half an hour.
Okay, so you can still grab him and ask him and hook up on. And on what social media should people approach you and hook up with you?
Well, in a business context, LinkedIn would be the good one.
Very good.
Yeah, Frans Tihveräinen, or just check out flyar.fi.
Exactly. This brings us to the end of the sort of more or less official part of the program, although it's been fun and we've been quite personal and fairly relaxed, frankly. But that, of course, reflects is a reflection of the industry itself. So we're really glad to have had all of you here. Obviously, we're continuing downstairs. There will still be demos on the booths. It's now 4:15, so we'll continue. And of course, above all, I want to say two more things. The Xamk Game Studio next summer internship application will be opening in February. So that's something definitely to be on the lookout for, and make sure that you participate in that if this is in any way something that interests you. And then, of course, this same event, the venue is still being discussed, but the date has been set. So mark it in your calendar so that you put anything else there, like crazy pikkujoulu or Einari Sedän 50 or 80-vuotisjuhlat or anything else that is boring and not important. Make sure you have 21st of November. So in the calendar, more or less exactly the same point in next year's calendar. 21st of November 2024, the Game Track will be back. See you all there, and now let's party all night and have fun. Thank you very much for coming.